Very good morning, dear children. Today we are going to discuss Political Science, lesson number 1, Post World War Development in Political Science. So, come on, let's see and discuss our today's chapter. So, till now we have been discussing about the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. We have been discussing in civics textbook, that is in your political science. We have studied about what are local self-government institutions. We have also studied about the India's constitution and a political system, or what is a government structure. In the sense, we have discussed what is a parliamentary system, what is Lok Sabha, how the Lok Sabha elections have been conducted. We have seen the important bodies or the functions of our government parliamentary system, like the legislature, the executives and the judiciary. We have also noticed about Rajya Sabha. So now today let us discuss about the post independence war of political system. So now in this class we are going to discuss about our country India's relationships with the world. How India is having good relationships with the world, that is throughout the world, with the other countries. And till now you must have also understood about the geography, the world geography, that means which country and where it is located. So through the study of geography you would have understood the places and its locations. The same time you must have also been understood about the historical events through the study of history. Okay, you might have understood about the various ages like ancient, medieval and modern ages. Okay, their culture, their traditions, what is history, historiography, all this you might have understood. Okay, see, we have also discussed in history lesson number 1 the written sources. Okay, so you might have understood what are the different sources of history and when the historical events have taken place in India. So all this together you have a quite knowledge about geography as well as history too. So now with the help of this political science lesson number 1, we are going to discuss how good relationship India was having with the other countries. And due to this relationship, what were the global issues what India was facing. So here usually we are dependent on different people, different organizations or on our country too. So for what we are dependent? We are dependent in the society for different reasons. We have many different reasons. Maybe for our good welfare of the society, we depend upon the people living in our societies, that is with our neighborhood. Okay, or maybe we also, like for example, you depend upon the school for your further education. Why? What is the need for you to depend on the school? Because the school is providing you education facilities. So, in order to get a good percentage, a good marks in your 10th standard, you need to depend upon your school. So, that is one example. So, in the same way, to get different facilities within our life, okay, to get different facilities within our life, our country India is also dependent with the other countries. Okay, we the Indians are dependent with the other organizations in the other countries too. So, as we all know about the truth, what is the truth? The truth is that there are many such independent nations, like how India achieved independence on 15th August 1947. Same way, even the other countries also achieved their independence. So, they are called as independent nations. And some of the nations even exchange or interact between each other very constantly. Constantly means they are in touch with each other. Two countries are in touch with each other very constantly. Every time they are in touch with each other. So these independent states, they also sometimes enter into treaties with each other. Okay, treaties means they also have a war. How much ever they are in touch with each other, or how much ever the two countries are having a friendly relationship with each other. But still, there are at times where the two countries fight with each other. They may sometimes enter into a war. Okay, these possibilities are also there. So there is a system where all these independent states come up together, and we call this system as international system. See, all the different countries, like say suppose Germany, Europe, and then India, okay, and then if you talk about the United States of America, so all the different all the different countries, when they come up on one platform in one place, so that specific system is called as international system. So here we are going to learn some features of this international system. So let us discuss what is interdependence. Interdependence means depending on each other. So here we can see many countries, all the countries in the world, they depend on each other. How much ever the country is powerful, Okay, whether it is a powerful country or no, but still it is dependent on each other. So here, even if you talk about America, even America is dependent on the other countries, whereas like our country India, even we Indians are dependent on the other countries. So this is how the interdependence moves on. So interdependence means all the countries depending on each other, maybe for the raw materials, for the business purpose, for the good economical relationship between each other, or in order to trade and transport the goods from one country to the other country. Whatever may be the reason, but all the countries depend on each other. That is called interdependence. Now let's find this. So here the question arises is, what is the difference between interdependence between individuals and that between nations? Now here interdependence between two or more groups of individual. Say suppose one country, if one country depends on another country for something, and that country may depend on another country, okay, which eventually creates a global interdependence. Now suppose for example India depends on America, again America depends on Indonesia. So that means what? That is the interrelationship, interconnection between one country to the other country. So this kind of interdependence is called as the global interdependence. Okay, one country depending on the other country, like a chain system we say. So that is called as a global interdependence. So the second question over here is there any sort of divisions? Divisions means differences between the rich and the poor countries. So the answer for this question is no. No, there is no differences or divisions between the rich and the poor countries. So the third question is, see in your textbooks, okay, if you open your textbooks, at the first page itself, first or second page, you have a pledge of Indian Constitution. Okay, like India is my country. Okay, we take the pledge no every day in the assembly. You remember? So that is the pledge of our Indian Constitution. But do you find the same sort of pledge? Okay, is there some kind of constitution at the global level? Okay, global level means we are just conducting the pledge based on our country India. But do you find the same kind of pledge at the global level? Global level means throughout the world. Does all the countries together follow a pledge? Yes, they follow. So, the second topic we are going to discuss in this lesson is international relations through foreign policy. See, as we know that every nation has good relationships or good dealings with the other countries. So, this kind of relationship or policy is called as foreign policy. Now, for example, we the Indians have good relationships with America. So, we are having or we are following a policy called foreign policy. That means we are having good relationship with the foreign countries. That's why this is called as foreign policy. So, if you just go towards the background, okay, if you just go towards the background, we can see that the world which we live today is being divided into many such history. Okay, we have many historical events in our today's world. Okay, so in this today's world, as we have many such historical events, so all these historical events we should have so here if you just get back to the background of our history. So if you just go towards the background, we can analyze or we can think that in the previous history in our country, there were many such events, incidents, battles, revolutions, movements have taken place before independence in order to achieve independence. There were many such national leaders who sacrificed their lives, who have started many such movements. Okay, so this all together is called as the events of our history in India. So among those history only, we also have the two important world wars, that is the First World War and the Second World War. So these were the two important world wars which took place in our country India. And due to this world war, many people have lost their lives. Many things have been completely changed throughout the world because of these two world wars. There was a great economical loss in the country. So all the soldiers, many of the soldiers have been killed due to these world wars. So now let us understand what exactly happened due to these world wars, how the different countries have been affected due to these world wars. So let us discuss about the First World War. First World War, which took place between 1914 to 1918. And here Europe was the first country which has been affected with this world war. Europe had a very central place in the global system at that time. And this war, the First World War, had caused a tremendous loss of life and property. So Europe was the first country which was being affected by this First World War. And due to this First World War, Europe, we can find many of the people have lost their lives and property. So in this First World War, many countries who have participated in the World War have been affected, and even those countries who have not participated in this World War has also been affected. So together we can say that much of the country's economy means what? The financial structure of the country, much of the money had been lost due to this First World War. Now let's see which are those countries, which were those countries which was involved in this First World War. So if you talk about the First World War, so we have the countries who have participated in this First World War. Now discussing about the Allied powers. The Allied powers, we have Britain, France, Russia, Italy and America. And if you just look towards the Central powers, we have Germany, Austria, Hungary, Ottoman Empire, who had participated in this First World War. So all these were the countries who were involved. So at the end of this First World War, all the different countries and all the people in the nations started thinking that this world war should not happen again in our world, because so many people have lost their lives. It was a great economical loss for all the nations. So because of this, all the countries have decided that this kind of world war should not happen again next time, even within any other countries. So because of this, there was an organization called League of Nations was established, and this League of Nations is an international organization, and this League of Nations has been started in order to solve the international disputes. International disputes means the problems, the difficulties, okay, or any other fights, which is whatever is carried out within the countries should be solved with the help of this League of Nations. So that is the reason this League of Nations organization has been started. So now, as we have discussed that League of Nations have been started in order to solve the disputes between the countries. So this League of Nations, actually the aim of this League of Nations is to stop the wars. It is to avoid the wars in our world. Okay, that was the main motto, that was the aim of League of Nations. So for this reason, in order to avoid the wars within our countries, this organization has been started. So after this organization has been started, Europe was the country, as I told you, it was the nation which was affected mostly in the First World War. So Europe, what it had done? Europe, after the First World War, Europe has stopped all the previous regiments. Okay, it had stopped all the previous colonies. And after First World War, Europe started building the new colonies, new communities in their own country. And then later, Europe also started occupying the countries called Africa and Asia. Due to this, the Africans and the Asians have started their independence movements. That is, they have started their revolutionaries, the wars, the fights in order to achieve independence for their own countries, Africa and Asia. So finally, League of Nations was not being successful to solve the idea of war in the countries. So later, the countries called Italy, Russia, these countries have come under a very big dispute. And then there again, it was a symbol, it was a sign for the Second World War. So let's see further about the nations. So now, as we have discussed about the First World War. In the First World War, we have seen how the countries have been affected. Now we are seeing how the countries are affected in the Second World War. Even in the Second World War, we could see many of the nations which have been facing destructions. Second World War was more dangerous than the First World War. In the First World War, the people were just fighting with each other and killing each other. But in the Second World War, they also used more advanced technologies like weapons. All these technologies and the weapons were used in the Second World War. So that was the reason it was being noted as the most destructive war. So here we can see America was the country which had participated very actively in the Second World War. In order to end the Second World War, America had dropped two nuclear weapons, that is, the two nuclear bombs. It had dropped in two cities, and the two cities are Japan, Hiroshima. These were the two cities, Japan, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki, on 6th and 9th of August 1945. So on 6th and 9th of August 1945, America had dropped the two nuclear weapons in the two cities called Japan, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki. So the Second World War ended with the defeat of Germany and the defeat of Japan. Now, among these many events that took place in the world in the Second World War was the beginning of the Cold War that started from 1945 to 1991. So, this tenure is a long period for the Cold War. So, what events were going on in India when the Second World War has been fought? The events in India were there was a fight in India on the issue of partition between India and Pakistan. So, this internal fight was going on in India. So, the second question is how India was affected due to the Second World War. So, due to the Second World War, there was an indirect effect, that was, the common people has been suffering due to devastating famines. That means there was no food left for the people. People were dying due to hunger. So, this was the situation in India. So, America and Soviet Union, these were the two countries after the Second World War was being completed. So, these two countries came together and these two countries were being participating in the Cold War. In the Cold War, these two countries, they did not have any such rivalry. Rivalry means they did not have any such disputes. No fights were there, no wars were there. It was not an open war. Okay, openly they were not killing each other, but still there was such tensions between their two countries. Okay, internal tensions were there between the two countries, and they wanted to come out of this Cold War. They wanted to solve and they wanted to just resolve this Cold War. This Cold War took place around 40 to 45 years within the international politics. So, discussing about the Cold War. Cold War was between the two important countries, that is America and Soviet Union. These two countries, as we know, America is said to be a supernatural, that is a powerful country. America has very important natural weapons, okay, like rifles, bombs, all the natural weapons are there with America. So it is said to be a super powerful country. But seeing this, even Soviet Union had also struggled a lot to improve its natural weapons, and Soviet Union was always been a competitor for the country America. So in this way, America and Soviet Union became competitors with each other, and finally there arose tensions between these two countries, and then they have been noticed the Cold War between these two countries. The Cold War, which shows that there was no open war. We cannot see the people fighting in front of us. But internally, within the political systems, within the government, the people, the countries fight with each other. This is called as Cold War. And due to this tensions which arised in Cold War, all the people in the different nations were thinking that definitely very soon there will also be a third world war. Okay. So, here, how can technology be used for human welfare? So, as we all know, that technology is very important in all the different fields. So, for example, let me give you all a current example. Like just because of the technology, the development in technology, We all are sitting at homes, but still the portions, okay, the educational system is completing the portions of all the subjects, okay, the curriculums are getting completed for the students, activities are conducted, okay, every day the classes, online lectures are conducted. It is just because of the development in the technology. So this is how we also have the better use of technology. Technology is used for human welfare. Okay. And today we can also see many countries have improved their natural weapons in their own country. Like for example, you can say even America, China. Okay, today China is the country which is more powerful, where it is also using its natural weapons even in the satellites. Okay, in the satellites it is using its natural weapons. Okay, it is keeping all its weapons in the satellites. Okay, it means it is getting ready for the third world war. So you can imagine how destructive, okay, what a kind of loss we could face if in case there will be third world war, because many countries have been improving themselves to face this third world war. So now effects of this Cold War. Okay, the Cold War also has certain effects. Now, as I told you that in this Cold War we could see the two important countries participating, that is America and Soviet Union. So these two countries have improved, okay, they have improved their military organizations. Now, if you talk about NATO, that is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was a military organization which was formed under the dominance of America. And Soviet Union, country Soviet Union, it also had made an organization, military organization, that is the Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact was a military organization which was being formed under the Soviet Union. So in this way, America and Soviet Union has also formed the military organizations in their own countries. So we could also find bipolarization. Now what is bipolarization? In this bipolarization, we could see many of the countries who were assisting these two powerful nations, that is America and Soviet Union, in this Cold War. So the countries which were joining these two nations for the Cold War is called as bipolarization. So due to this also, there was a tension which arose within the nations for the next war, that is the Third World War. The third effect of this Cold War is arms race. In this arms race, we can see the two superpowers, America and Soviet Union, had started the rivalry. Rivalry means a fight, making more and more destructive weapons. Both the countries had a competition with each other to make more and more weapons. Weapons means, as I told you, the guns, the rifles, the bombs. Okay, in order to destruct their own countries and even the other countries too. So this also created the tensions within the countries for the expecting for the third world war. Okay, so the effects of the Cold War. Okay, in the effects of the Cold War, we have been discussing about the formation of the military organizations in the two countries, America and the Soviet Union. We have also seen the bipolarization, that is, all the other countries were also joining these two countries for the war. And the third effect of the Cold War is the arms race, where many arms, many weapons have been started with the new technology. So here the regionalism, the creation of the regional organization. So when the two countries were preparing for many more weapons, the arms, to fight with each other, finally they have also thought and came to a conclusion that preparing the weapons is again a loss for their own countries. So after this, they came together, all the countries came together, America, Soviet Union, all other countries came together, and they all had a mutual cooperation. That means a mutual understanding with each other, because now every country wanted to improve their economic development. That means the financial structure of their country should be improved. So to improve the financial structure of the country, all the countries should have good relationship with each other. So that is the reason all countries came together and they all started a new regional organization. That means they all started having good relationship with each other. So here we could see the European countries. The European countries came together and they all formed the European Economic Community. While the Southeast Asian countries like Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia and Philippines, all these are the Southeast Asian countries which came together and they also made a Southeast Asian nation. So now when the Cold War was being continued, and when the world was getting bipolarized. Okay, I told you what is bipolarization. Okay, there are countries which were supporting Soviet Union and America in this Cold War. So that is called bipolarization. So when these Cold War and bipolarization was going on, there were some countries which were not interested to join both the superpowers, America as well as Soviet Union. So such nations decided to stay out of this Cold War. So there are few countries who have decided to stay out of this Cold War. So this policy is known as non-alignment. So here, do you all know that Soviet Union is the place, is a country which was being derived from Russia. Okay, and there are many such differences between both the countries like America and Soviet Union. Like we know, America is said to be as a capitalism. It follows capitalism as it is a democratic state, whereas Soviet Union, they follow socialism as one party authoritarian system. So capitalism means they believe in investing more money for the growth of their own country, okay, for the economic development. Whereas Soviet Union believes in socialism. Socialism means they believe in the communalism, that is the people living in the society. Okay, socialism means about the people living in the society, the feelings, okay, the developments of those people in the society, about the rich and the lower class people struggle, okay, about the whites and the blacks, about the religions, the caste problems, all this comes under socialism. So Soviet Union concentrates on the socialism, whereas America concentrates on the capitalism of their own countries. So here, as Soviet Union and America, the both powerful countries, they want their dominance. Dominance means they want to dominate the whole world. As we have learnt just now that America was supporting capitalism, whereas Soviet Union was supporting socialism. So America wanted the whole country to follow its rule of capitalism, whereas Soviet Union wanted all the people in the world to follow socialism. But due to this, the Europeans have been divided, whereas we can see that the Eastern European countries joined the Soviet Union and the Western European countries have joined America. And these superpowers espoused the policy of extending military and economic help to the countries in their respective blocs. So these superpowers, that is the European countries, the America and Soviet Union, Western European countries and the Eastern European countries, they also started supporting the other countries which are there in their own blocs with the military assistance. So in this way, they slowly started occupying the smallest countries. Okay. Non-aligned movement, as we have discussed earlier, non-aligned movement are those countries, the people or the countries who don't want to support either America nor Soviet Union. Okay, they don't want to participate in the Cold War. Okay, those countries are the non-aligned countries. So here we have the two countries, Africa and Asia. Both the countries have achieved independence after the Second World War. So finally, these countries have started the movement of this non-aligned movement under their leadership of their own prime ministers in their own countries. So now let us see what was the evaluation of the non-aligned movement. Evaluation means what does non-aligned movement has been thinking. So non-aligned movement opposed, okay, they were against colonialism, imperialism and racism. Colonialism means they don't want the other countries, the super powerful countries like America and Soviet Union, to make colonies. Okay, one full country should not be divided into colonies. And they also opposed imperialism. Imperialism means to occupy a particular country, okay, to capture a country. So as Britishers came and captured a country, India, that is called imperialism. So here these countries, the non-aligned movement countries, they don't want the other super powerful countries to come and capture any other country. So it has encouraged the resolution of international disputes by peaceful means. So the non-aligned movement wanted all the countries to come together and to end their wars or their fights in a peaceful manner. Okay, the non-aligned movement wants the countries not to fight with each other. There should be no war in the countries. Let everybody live a peaceful life. That was the main goal of this non-aligned movement. So, as discussing about this non-aligned movement, in India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had supported this non-aligned movement. And in this non-aligned movement, they supported for the peaceful treaties in all the countries. That means there should be peace among all the countries. No country should have a war with the other country. No people should fight within their own countries. There should be the balance between the rich and the poor. The inequalities between the casteism should be abolished. Means it should be disconnected. It should not be followed. So these were all the evaluations of non-aligned movements. So moving towards the non-aligned movement, talking about it, after the Cold War came to an end, but still this non-aligned movement was still being continued in all the various countries, especially in India. Of course, the Cold War was ended, but still this movement was given more importance. Why? Because this movement had started to decrease or reduce the wars or the fights between the people. This non-aligned movement has been started to give a freedom life for the people to live in our country, India. With the help of this non-alignment movement only, the rich and the poor's inequalities have been reduced, and even the international politics has come to an end. So these were all the positive outlook of the movement, that is non-alignment movement. So now when we are getting so many positive feedbacks from this movement, so this non-alignment movement is said to be very important. So that is the reason after the end of the Cold War also, still this non-aligned movement has been continued in many of the countries. Now let us see how the end of Cold War was. So how the Cold War has been ended. So the first point for the end of Cold War is the Soviet Union had started a policy of opening the economy. The state loosened up its control of the economy. That means the economical structure, the financial structure of this country, Soviet Union, has been reduced. So, due to this, see, it is a fact, that it is a truth that if a country is not having good economical structure, that means if there is no good finance in the country, money in the country, then how the country is going to run. So this is what happened with Soviet Union. As there was lack of financial structure in Soviet Union, so this Cold War has been ended. And then the president of the Soviet Union, Mikhail, had also implemented a policy of perestroika, that is restructuring. Restructuring means to construct Soviet Union again because of the loss of the economy what it has been facing. And glasnost. Glasnost means openness, that is to openly accept the failures of their own country. So due to these policies, there was no such Cold War which has been seen continued in this country. So there was the end of this Cold War. So moving towards the third point, okay, why the Cold War has been ended. The third point is, as I've told you, even the European nations have been supporting the Soviet Union, that is the Eastern European nation. Okay, so these Eastern European nations, now they also started making or forming their own colonies within their own countries. So because of this also, the lack of support, okay, there was a lack of support by these Eastern European nations. So because of this support, lack of support, the Soviet Union has come to an end with the Cold War. The next point, the fourth point what we have is, we can also see that the Soviet Union has come to an end. That means that particular country with the name Soviet Union has been ended. Then what was the name given to this country, Soviet Union? That is Russia. Yes. Today what we call the country's name as Russia was once named as Soviet Union. But later now it has been changed to Russia. So here, after the Cold War has been ended, but still, now here we can see the First World War was being done, Second World War also ended, and after that came the Cold War, which was around for almost 40 to 45 years in the world. That also ended. So after ending of these all the three wars in the post-independence period, still NATO was existing. Now what I said, NATO is the reorganization of the military powers in America and Soviet Union, right? We discussed earlier. So this did not end. This was still existing with its military strength. Now we will see the countries who were the members of this NATO. So all these countries, see, you can just see all the above countries were the Western countries. So all the Western countries were still being connected to this NATO with this military strength. Okay. So when when there is only one superpower or when there is only one country, okay, which is ruling the other countries, okay, where all the other countries are dependent on this one particular super powerful country, then such a system is called as unipolar system. So here the words what we have studied in the lesson, now we are just recollecting all the important words whatever we had been discussed in this lesson. So now see the division of nations between the two superpowers, okay, as I told you, as we already discussed in the lesson, that the Soviet Union and America, the two superpowers, they have been divided, and the countries, okay, all the other countries have been supporting these two nations, okay. So when they have been divided and the countries they are supporting these two nations comes under bipolarization. So here when there are many countries which adopted as a super powerful country, okay, when all the countries are said to be as a super powerful country, then what kind of a word or which name we will give to those countries, that system, so that system will be called as multipolarization. So you have to remember, okay, unipolarization, bipolarization, multipolarization. Unipolarization means only one country having powers upon the other countries, that is unipolarization. Bipolarization means two countries having powers upon the other countries, that is bipolarization. Multipolarization means many countries having powers to rule the other countries or their own country, that is called multipolarization. So this is what you need to remember. So here finally the post Cold War came to an end. So the post Cold War came to an end with the help of Soviet Union. Okay, today we call it as Russia. Okay, the Soviet Union has surrendered. Why it has surrendered? Because it don't want any more wars in its own country. It wanted its country to develop economically. That means the Soviet Union, Russia, wanted its country to develop with financial sector. All the people in the country should have sufficient money to live. All the country in the all the people in the country should never be called as poor. There should be development for all the people, like educational development, technical development, okay, business developments, industrial development. So there should be all these kinds of developments. What to do with the war? Okay, with the war nothing we are achieving, only we are losing. Okay, because of the enmity between the countries. With the wars, what is happening? The people are dying. The money is getting wasted. Okay, the natural weapons are getting wasted. So why to kill the people? Why to waste the money? So because of this, thinking all this, the Soviet Union, that is Russia, had started with the economic development of their country, ending with the Cold War. So in this way, America is said to be the super powerful nation. And then after this, all the countries came together in order to build their own economical relationship between the nations. Okay, all countries came together: India, America, Russia, okay, Indonesia, Japan. All countries came together, and everyone wanted to build, okay, wanted to build their own economic development in their countries. And all the nations of the world decided that every country will help each other with the business related matters. Okay, all the countries will share the technologies, the improvements, the developments with each other, and let all the countries now fight. Fight will be there, but not by killing the people. Fight will be as a competition. So there the competition started between the countries in order to develop the economical development in their own country. So now the United Nations responsibilities has increased. Now United Nations, UNO, United Nations organizations has been started. See, we have discussed in the introduction of this lesson. In the earlier, we have discussed in this lesson about League of Nations. You know what is the League of Nations? What I said, League of Nations has been started to stop, in order to stop the wars in the countries. Okay, what was the aim? What was the motto of this League of Nations? The aim of League of Nations was to bring peace among the world. Okay, that was its aim. So here, even after the League of Nations was not successful. Okay, League of Nations was not successful. It has been ended. So after this, the UNO had started, United Nations Organization. So this organization also started in order to bring peace within the world, same as League of Nations. So this UNO has become more responsible now after the end of Cold War, because this UNO had to take more concrete steps in order to improve peace and security throughout the world. So this is what we have studied in this lesson, dear students. In this lesson, we have discussed the post-independent movements in the political system. Okay, the First World War movements in the political system. We have discussed how the First World War had started, how it affected all the countries. Later, we also have discussed about the Second World War, the Cold War, and how the Cold War has come to an end. So all these were the events which took place in history. Okay, this is what is called our history. So this is what we have discussed in lesson number 1 from political science. I hope you all might have understood the concept. Thank you. Stay safe and stay home.